Well, kia ora and welcome to the Harness Half Hour, proudly brought to you by Airpark Canterbury and HRNZ Marketing. I'm Jess Smith, and this week on the show, we interview retiring Freeze brander John Boyd following his recent award for 50 years service to the harness racing industry. We're also joined by James Stormont, who on Friday night trained his 200th winner in Sonny Petite, who he also drove to win. Bruce Stewart also chats to us about the upcoming Riverton Trotting Club meeting and the brand new Southern Harness website, which includes exclusive punting information. Plus, bookmaker Richard Wilson is back with another bookie update. But first, here are this week's headlines. The North Island road to the New Zealand Cup continued on Friday night when Triple Eight was successful in the Homes DG at Alexandra Park. Winning in record time, Triple Eight will now head south for a start at Kaikoura, but will miss the New Zealand Cup, starting instead in the Junior Free-for-All, all in preparation for the Inter-Dominion Series in December. In a thrilling edition of the Methven Cup, Chase Auckland bounced back after a disappointing run previously to produce a tough win on the grass in the 3,000 metre feature, despite sitting parked. He held off the charges of Ashley Locas and Smoke and By. And the feature race at Gore on Saturday was the Ladyship Final, which was won by Plutonium Lady for Canterbury trainer Mark Jones and driver Samantha Otley. Well, many of our listeners may have come across an article recently on the Harness Racing New Zealand website around John Boyd. John Boyd, of course, has recently received an award for 50 years service to harness racing. He's freeze brander in the South Island and is retiring, and John's kindly joining us on the podcast this week. John, congratulations on the award, and does it feel like 50 years in the industry?
Well, no, it doesn't really feel like 50 years. It's a type of industry that I thoroughly enjoyed, and I've had some great memories, and I am a wee bit disappointed in retiring because I've met a lot of people, and I've thoroughly enjoyed my time at it.
And you would imagine have many fond memories. How many horses were you freeze branding initially back in the day, John?
I initially started off, and I used to cover from Dunedin to the top of the South Island. Used to be at 3,800 a season.
Wow. And how many are you seeing nowadays or this year?
No, the numbers have dropped down now. They've dropped down the last 4 or 5 years. I'm down to about 800 now in my area.
Yeah. I'd imagine when you're branding 3,000 odd foals every year, you'd make some amazing friendships all around the South Island.
That was one thing that I thoroughly enjoyed, and the people that I've met and the people that have helped me over the period of time, I couldn't thank enough, because I've thoroughly enjoyed it. As I said, I could spend 3 or 4 days in Oamaru and another couple of days in Timaru, and I've met some wonderful people over the time.
Yeah. Would it be quite a social activity at times, John?
Oh, well, it was, yeah. It was, yeah. It was quite socially. I used to go up to Barney Tizzle, and we'd end up at the Moonlight, and it was always sort of a late evening or early morning.
Yeah.
Thoroughly enjoyed it.
You'd get to parts of the country, I'd imagine, that most of us wouldn't venture to very often, because in your article, John, you mentioned that quite a lot of farmers back then were breeding a few mares.
Yes, it was. And I've been very lucky, because, as I said, I've gone to places that you would never, ever go unless you were branding foals, because, further in the way back, sort of Marama, Otamatata, and then you go down to Duntroon and through there, and even Nelson, with up to Tarkia and those places, you wouldn't see. You could drive to the town, but people are off the road and farmers there. No, I've seen a lot of country.
Yeah, and those would have been the days too before GPS, so you'd be having to read a map and follow your nose, so to speak.
Well, when I first started, I was very fortunate. My father came from Oamaru, and I managed to. Oliver Pringle used to be down there. He used to do he used to organise my branding, and I was very lucky. And Lester Keenan and Timaru, and they used to sort it out for me and say, well, yes, you can go there, because, as I said, there was no GPS those days. There had to be, and there was very few phones.
Exactly, yeah, it would have been a completely different world. And what were some of the major, I know dealing with young stock and horses in particular, John, is always hazardous and you've got to have your wits about you, but what were some of the major challenges in your career as a Freeze brander when dealing with the young stock?
Well, it was just that a lot of people, especially the people that sort of only bred one foal every 1 or 2 years or whatever, the facilities was the biggest problem because, as I said, later on in the season when the hot foals get bigger and it gets very hard, and it can become sort of a testing time to sort of organise the facilities to brand them, and that was the biggest problem.
Yeah, and at some of those bigger farms too, it would have been a hard day's work getting through some of those numbers.
When I used to go to Never, and I used to do about 120 in an afternoon.
Wow.
And that was when the peak was on, and Hometown was about. There was the numbers were there, and they were. We probably wanted Royden Lodge, say off there, Fletcher there. I could do 60 or 80 there in an afternoon. So the numbers were there then those days.
Goodness me. And you mentioned the likes of Holmes, Hanover, John. With your time dealing with some of these foals, was there a particular stallion that overall you thought, gee, he stamps these foals in outstanding order?
Well, I was always impressed with Holmes Hanover because they were the type of horse that, they were conformation-wise, they sort of stood out. And, I mean, over the years, it's just, we've obviously gone in towards the speed side of the stallions. They've got record times now, and probably those days, there wasn't so much, but they're a good staying horse, and they could be winning lots of races. They were the type of horse that you could sort of take to the race and race them twice a day and have no problems.
Yeah, exactly. And you mentioned the way the breed has changed. I guess the racing style and everything over those 50 years has changed quite a lot as well.
Oh, yes, it has. Yes, it has. And that's the thing. See, a lot of the even younger horses that I'm breaking in now, unless they sort of show you that potential and sort of got the will to go. But time. Years ago, you'd sort of give them a bit of time, but people today, they just want to know how quick they can go and how much money they can make, really.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, the breed certainly changed a lot with that early speed in America too, because we seem to be following their lead.
Oh yes, we have. Yeah, no, that's the thing, and that's what obviously people are looking at today.
Okay, so you mentioned that you're breaking in horses and still working them as well, because you'd be very proud of the fact that your family are following in your footsteps, so to speak. Well,
it is really, and Stephen and I, we worked together, and we did quite a lot of work for Mark Bird and Phil Williamson. They're great clients that always got horses here, and I thoroughly enjoy it. I don't think there'll be any way I'll stop it for a few years yet anyway, because I thoroughly enjoy it.
Oh, exactly. And as you say, the friendships you would have made would last a lifetime through this industry.
Oh yes, definitely. I mean, I wouldn't know how many people that I've over the years, and the days that you could go down to Oamaru and you'd go to people's places, and the next thing that you're in there for lunch. And but today, of course, it's all go. They don't seem to worry about today. It's just in and out and gone, and there's not so much of the older people stopping off and having a yarn there. Yeah,
I guess life has just got so busy, hasn't it? People are under time restraints, and they've got to, they're under a lot of pressure.
Oh, they are. And I can appreciate that. I mean, it's just the way that the country's going, and and that's whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, I don't know. But I mean, it's sometimes you sort of sit back and think, well, where is it going? What's happening? Because it's just
sometimes it pays not to think about it too much, doesn't it?
No, you're right there. Very much so.
Oh, well, John, in your involvement in harness racing as a Freeze brander and trainer and owner in the industry, what have been some of your personal highlights?
When probably early on in my career, I had some nice horses. and raced quite a few nice horses, and then I sort of got involved in a bit of breeding, and wasn't probably so successful at that. But then I sort of started doing a lot of young horses for different trainers, and started to sort of concentrate on that type of thing. And now being, the way I'm at the moment, I just, as I said, I work with Stephen, and we just have got some nice horses and some nice people to deal with. So that's my highlight, really.
Oh, well, John, thank you so much for your time. It's lovely to chat to you, and I'm sure we could chat all day about all the stories and experiences that you've had as a freeze brander and being in the industry. But congratulations, 50 years service to harness racing. That's an outstanding effort.
Yes, well, I appreciate all the help that I've had over the years and met so many people. So I'm going out, very, very happy. And as I can help the next fella in, well, I'll hopefully he'll have the same success as what I have.
And in social media news, headlines from around the world, starting with New Zealand. As mentioned, congratulations to James Stormont, who collected his 200th training winner on Friday night with Sonny Petit. And also congratulations to Matty Williamson, who collected his 800th driving winner over the weekend in New Zealand. Check out our HRNZ Facebook page as well for our Road to the Cup and Road to the Dominion interviews from industry members as well. From Australia, Bling It On was massive when winning the Victoria Cup on Saturday night, coming back from a recent 16-month spell which was enforced by injury and even stud duties to win just his second start back. For more, check out Harness Racing Victoria's Facebook page. And from the USA, the $1 million international trot at Yonkers was held over the weekend, with Italian trotter Zarcone Gio victorious, making it 11 wins in a row. The 4-year-old trotter headed home a star-studded field of trotters from around the world, and Speeding Spur also competed on the card, finishing 4th in a hugely competitive Harry Harvey trot. You can find out more about that meeting by checking out Yonkers Raceway on Facebook. Well, of course, here on the podcast, we love to celebrate milestones, and of course, we had one achieved at Alexandra Park last week in the north, and of course, James Stormont picking up his 200th training win. James, congratulations.
Thanks very much. Yes, it's a bit of an achievement I didn't really think of, but it's come around, yeah.
Do you take much notice of where you are sitting in terms of milestones, or does it kind of creep up on you and someone has to tell you?
This one kind of creeped up on me. I got somebody come around, and was Megan Teed come around to take a photo for the trotting club for it, and I said, this is going to take me a while to train this one now, because when I drove my 1000th winner, it took me about 3 weeks. Yeah. You try a little bit harder, and it just seems to take longer. But we've got there anyway. Yeah.
Does it actually, I guess it would actually have quite a mental impact if you do have that hanging over you a wee bit?
To start with, you think, we'll get this out of the road quick, and then I just, not being awful, you kind of forget about it, and it's going to come when it's going to come. You just do your best with the horses, and you try and get the results best for the owners.
Oh, exactly. And as you mentioned, you've already had a massive milestone as a driver, now well over 1,200 driving wins. But is it, it'd be quite a unique feeling, I'd imagine, to be a trainer and get to 200, because that's a massive deal.
Yeah, well, I don't have many in work all the times I've been doing. I've only had like 10 or 12 in work all the time. So, it's something I didn't really think about at all. It's just going out there and trying to, and especially at the moment, the way things are, it's just trying to make a living and keep your head above water. But, it's something to look back on and say, I've done,
Exactly. And really nice too, you were able to drive the winner as well in Sonny Petit, and you must be really grateful for the support that you've had from the owners over these years.
I had a lot of good owners, and a lot of them have stuck with me, and that's really appreciated in this day and age. And it's like everything. You put your hard work into it and you get results. Not always comes when you want, but good things come to those who wait.
Oh, most certainly. Exactly. And if you are good in this industry, the good karma comes your way, especially when you look after your owners, because that's the key thing, isn't it?
It is, yeah. I've been lucky with having. I've got a really good owner. Eugene Stork's been fantastic to me, and would have loved to have done it for this horse, but not to be. I've done it with Frank's little mare, and she'll go on hopefully with a few more wins in her yet. She's getting stronger, but it's just a bit of a worry with the handicapping now with her. So we're just going to have to see what's in front of us.
Well, she's got a lot to live up to too, being from such a prolific family.
Yeah, it makes it a little bit hard for her, but she's just losing the winter coat and getting better all the time. So like I said, the handicapping makes it hard for the ones that just come out of maidens. They jump up and race horses that have had 2 or 3 wins in their career, but it is what it is. Yeah,
exactly. And you mentioned, James, you've got a smaller team in work, but are there any horses in the team that we should be keeping an eye out for, or ones that have really, piqued your interest going forward this season?
McGilligan Points was starting to get him back to where I thought he was when I first got him. But I've got a few young ones. I've had to go up the sales last year and try to syndicate a few and that. But no, they're mainly young ones. I've got about 8 trotters and about 3 pacers, I think. So
wow. Cool.
We'll just have to roll on and see what happens this year.
Are there any of that lot, James, that might be by newish stallions or horses that have, really stamped themselves as horses with promise to you?
Well, I've got mainly Pegasus Spurs, to be honest.
Oh, good, though.
But I like them. I've got a full brother to Speeding Spur there. I quite like him. Mm-hmm. He showed a little bit as a 2-year-old, and he's come back in now. He just had a little hiccup. He got a bit of a virusy bug, and he's starting to come back to it now. So, we just whack away.
And good to see, of course, Speeding Spur's been holding his own in America, and you'd be particularly interested, James, in the way that Sea Swift Joy is going in North America. She's having a huge year.
Yeah, like Malcolm said, she'll get better with age, and I never doubt Malcolm. And I knew she'd do a great job over there because she bounced back for some hard racing, and she loved the miles. And all the manners Malcolm put into her, it come to the fore for them,
Yeah, exactly. And she's such a great advertisement for New Zealand, the New Zealand breed, because you've got Sha Tin and Sea Swift Joy, leading the way in the mares ranks. It just speaks a huge amount about our breed.
It does, yeah. It's hard now because of breeding. Not so many people are breeding, and it's harder to get horses and that, which would be nice for like the old days when it was there's more breeding. You get a bit more cheaper horses, and you'd have a bit more fun. But it's all kind of changing now.
Yeah. And James, you mentioned that you syndicate a few. Maybe if there's someone listening that's in the North Island going forward and they're interested about getting involved in ownership, are you open to people contacting you or sending horses your way?
Yeah, they can. Anybody can ring me. I'm open. I've still got a couple of shares going around and a couple of Sweet Lou colts, and I've got a Pegasus Spur trotting fellow there that is a little bit of few shares in him if anybody's interested. But we do one-off payment type things, so it's a little bit different. But if anybody's interested, they're more than welcome to give me a ring. Yeah, I mean, that's,
you've got to try new things too. The one-off payment and, making it a bit easier for people to get in is the key thing, isn't it?
Yeah, well, they don't have to. They do the one payment, and it's the whole year paid, and they don't have to worry about it again. They can just enjoy or whatever, and hopefully as they get older, they pay for themselves and they don't have to pay any more.
Yeah, that's the ideal scenario, and of course have a bit of fun along the way.
It is, yeah. You meet new people and everything, and that's the excitement part about it.
Yeah. Oh, well, good on you, James. Thank you so much for your time. I know that the weather there is not great today, so you were able to fit us in. So I really appreciate your time, and congratulations. 200 training wins, that's an outstanding effort.
Thank you very much, Jess.
Airpark Canterbury is Christchurch's only 24/7 privately owned off-site airport car parking. If you feel strongly about supporting privately owned business, support Airpark Canterbury. It's only a short drive to the airport in the Airpark Canterbury free shuttle. So if you want the cheapest parking option around, try Airpark Canterbury. Call 0800 Airpark or online at airparkcanterbury.co.nz.
There's always a park for me at Airpark Canterbury.
Well, we head to mighty Southland now, and of course we're going to preview the Riverton meeting coming up Sunday 20th of October. But first and foremost, Bruce wears many hats in the industry. Bruce, thank you so much for your time, and you've had an exciting launch of a new website down there.
Yeah, it was sort of time. We've got a wider group now, so it's not just Southland, it's Southern Harness. So we just changed the name and decided to freshen it up as well. And the feedback's been really good. We're using audio bites from trainers, which are between 15 and 25 seconds long. So they're nice little tiny bites talking about their horses' chances for the weekend. And there's a few sort of tipping tables as well, like Drive for Five, where we give trainers an imaginary bet and they can put some money on a horse they think is going to go well. So that sort of points punters in the right direction as well.
I guess it makes it a one-stop shop. You have the likes of the TAB where you can get nationwide information, but not necessarily to that degree of detail. So really focusing on the southern end of the country and making it more local is a key thing.
Yeah, it's sort of nailing it down to, comments from trainers rather than sort of, previews that, might be a wee bit more subjective. So, it's a good thing. And I do photos and stories, of course, of all the southern meetings. So that works really well as well, so exposure-wise.
Exactly. So if anyone is not aware of the website, Bruce, what's the web address and how can they check it out?
It's southernharness.co.nz and it'll pop up fairly quickly for you.
Perfect. Okay, so as Bruce mentioned, there's a number of articles, also previews as well, so make sure you check that out. And of course, you're involved with the Riverton Trotting Club. You'd be looking forward to the big meeting coming up this weekend.
Yeah, it's a wee bit earlier than normal, but we're okay with that. And the comments around the place so far is that the stakes are really good, so hopefully we can get some good nominations, which come through during the week and get some good fields at the end of the day. So looking forward to it. Midday start, Sunday meeting. So hopefully we can do the business, Jess.
Yes, sounds good. And of course being held at Ascot Park, so if the weather should be inclement, which I'm sure it won't be because it's always beautiful in Southland, but there's somewhere for everyone to head along and enjoy the action.
Yeah, absolutely. Everything's sort of pretty much covered in if you need to be undercover. Mm-hmm. And we've got some nice things happening. We're doing the usual gift basket for all of the winning owners for each of the races, which we do every year, which is really appreciated. One of the new features this year is Feed for Speed. We've got Aaron Swain from Macmillan Equine Feeds on board, and he's going to award some suitable prizes to the fastest mile rate for trotters and pacers during the day. So that's good, and thanks to Aaron. And the Invercargill Working Men's Club are going to be on board as well once again with teams and a betting competition upstairs. So, looking forward to that too. And
of course some feature racing on the card as well. The Gold Chip Final, always popular, and the Cup itself.
Yeah, both $15,000 races, the Gold Chip Trotters Final, and hopefully we'll draw a good field of competitive trotters for that. And the DT King Transport Limited Riverton Cup, that's a $15,000 race as well. And last year, of course, won by Airpark Flyer. So looking forward to another nice, handy field there too.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Bruce, thank you so much for your time. Well done on the website, and I'm sure the meeting, as always, will go off and be well received this Sunday. So I guess the message is, if you're nearby, make sure you head along.
Yep, 12 midday start, and thanks for your support, Jess.
Hi, Razor here from Canterbury Rugby. When you need airport parking, choose a team that's on the ball. Meet at Airpark Canterbury and get their free Mercedes shuttle to drop you right off at the terminal. Airpark Canterbury have the cheapest 24/7 airport parking, and you'll never get left on the sidelines. Give Airpark Canterbury a try. airparkcanterbury.co.nz.
There's always a park for me at Airpark Canterbury.
Well, of course, at this stage of the podcast every week, we love to dial up bookmaker Richard Wilson up there in Petone in Wellington, and I guess it's our obligatory weather update. Richard, how are things there in the windy Wellington today?
Yes, well, it's not too windy, but the clouds have rolled in. I can't see any blue sky out my window, and I would say it's going to rain and rain hard very soon.
Oh, lovely. Can't wait for that. Okay, well, looking at the bookmaker markets from the last week or so, starting off with last Thursday at Addington, how did you guys fare initially?
Yeah, not too bad. There was some big bets on Thursday night there, most of which got home. Thankfully, there were a couple well-back runners that missed out. The big winners there, $12,000 on Amazing Dream at $1.50, and there was also $6,000 on her at $1.45. There was $12,000 on Winterfell at $1.65, $4,500 on A Better Act at $3.40. They were all very good. The misses there, $9,000 on Storm at $1.70, and also $4,000 and $1,000 at $1.55. There was $4,000 on Arden's Reality at $2.50, as well as $2,000 and $3,000 at $2.20, $2,000 at $1.95, and $2,400 at $1.90. And the other one, Down to the Bone, shaping as a terrible end to the night in the last. It was $900 at $2.20, then $9,000 at $1.95, $5,000 at $1.80, $6,000 at $1.70, and three $1,000 bets at $1.65. So that one missing out made the night, really.
Okay, and on to Friday night. Of course, we were up at Auckland this week with the Homes DG, the feature, but were they taking any large bets there, Richard?
Not quite as many on Friday night as there were on Thursday, but the largest three all missed too, so that was pretty good for us. There was $5,000, excuse me, on Lady Be Good at $3, $12,500 Mighty Louie at $1.85. There was also $1,000 at $1.90, $2,000 at $1.85, and $1,200 at $1.75 on him. And there was $12,000 on Wainui Creek at $1.55. So those three bets sort of set us up. A number of nice collects though. $1,000 on Soul Ambition at $5, $2,750 on Mimi E Coco at $2.40, $2,000 and $3,500 top three bets on Press the Bell at $2. Pretty canny bets there. $100 and $130 bets on Thumbs Up at $16. There was also $175 at $12, $200 at $9.50. So that was very well supported there. Thumbs Up. In the feature race, $500 at $4 and $400 at $3.90 on Triple Eight got home, while there was $3,300 on Max Shard at $3 and $1,000 on the Devil's Own at $4.50.
Okay, so a couple of misses there too in the feature for you guys, keeping the books balanced nicely. Saturday, of course, we were down at Southend for Gore, and it looks as though it was a bit quieter there.
A bit quieter down there at Gore, yeah. The best bet, though, $3,000 on Ideal Draw at $3.20. There was two of those, actually, in the last race, so very good shopping there. Earlier, there was a well-placed early $400 on Burnham Boy at $5. He won very well at $3.20, so they chased him all the way in. A couple of misses that helped us out there. $8,200 on Need You Now at $2.20. There was $1,600 on Le Livre's Gift at $4.60, and also $1,000 at $3.80. And $2,200 to win at $4, and $4,000 to run top three at $1.75 on Jackson Jazz. Got us out of trouble there.
Okay, and then of course off to Methven on Sunday. Thankfully they were able to race on the grass track this time.
Yes, indeed. It wasn't the best day they've ever had weather-wise there, but there was no dramas with the track, and it was raced very well. Punters off to a great start there too. $980 bet on Bow Major at $4.20 and $500 at $4. Very good in the first race. $3,250 on Where's Daddy at $3.90. $6,000 top three at $1.70 and $1,000 at $3.60. Got home in race 4. There was $1,000 on Chase Auckland at $3.90 in the Cup. So all nice returns there. The Cup market was moving around quite a lot the day before and on the day. Ashley Locaz opened $3.60, closed the $2.40 favourite. There was a late rally for the opening favourite, the Fixer. He was $2.80 out to $4.50, closed at $4.20, and there wasn't much between those two in the total amount held on them. Grand Chico, another one that was very well backed, $1,000 to win at $6.50, $9,000 to run top three at $1.90. So that we're quite happy to see him just get nosed out of third. Yeah, that was good for us, bad for the punter. Other big misses there, $2,000 on Tonique Defu at $9.50, $1,000 bets on Franco Garrett at $3.90 and $3.70, $2,000 on Chilla Bay at $6.50, $2,700 to win at $3.70, and $5,000 top three at $1.70 on Can I Be Me. Also very well back there, Can I Be Me. Also $4,000 at $3.20 and 1,000 at 290.
Yeah, busy enough day, and as you say, those big grass track meetings always very popular. And also popular, the multi of the week. What have you found for us this time round, Richard?
I've got a couple here this week. The multi of the week, though, clearly $25 5-leg top 3 multi at Addington, Hayden's Medal at 260, Medusa at 350, Ivana Flyby at 230, Amaretto Sun at 575, and Let's Hustle at 205. So that $25 ticket there turned into 6,167, and couldn't have done any better. Of the 5 horses there, 4 of them ran third, and 2 of them were in 7-horse fields. So yeah, very good effort there. And I've got an honourable mention to this one, an 84-cent multi placed on Methven on Sunday. Better Fly at 550, Where's Daddy 390, Tiebreaker just a top 3 280, Yorkshire at 390, and Cast No Shadow at 550. So the 84 cents became $1,082.10.
That is a fantastic effort. We need some pointers from that punter as well. And worst cash out option of the week?
Yeah, there was a $1,500 bet on Christians Have Time at $1.75, and the head-to-head every Friday night there's head-to-heads on each race. So Christians Have Time, $1.75, just to beat Alpine Delight, race 9 at Auckland there. Would have returned $2,625, but for some reason the punter cashed out, and Alpine Delight went about 3 strides and then galloped, and so it was pretty plain sailing for Christians Have Time, getting home in third. So yeah, not sure what happened there, but let me off the hook.
Yeah, exactly, and you'd hope that punter wasn't actually watching, because they'll be wanting to give themselves an uppercut soon after the start, but never mind, that's racing. Futures options, you guys have been very busy with getting these out, but how are those markets looking, Richard?
Yeah, they're ticking over quite nicely. The big mover this week, Bling It On, he's in the Interdom market. He very good win in the Victoria Cup, slashed about a second off the record. He was $21 leading into that, now he's 10. There's $800 been put on the Fixer to run top 3 in the Cup at $2.50, $400 on One Change to win the Size Stakes final at $3.80, $300 on Spankum to win the New Zealand Cup at $2, and also $225 bet on the Fixer to win the Cup at $6.50.
Okay, so check those out, tab.co.nz for all of those futures markets, and of course all of the futures for the rest of the year as well. And the week ahead, it's just going to be busy enough again.
It is not a bad week shaping up. Forbury on Thursday, haven't been to Forbury for a while. Addington with the Size Stake Heat 3 there, hopefully featuring One Change and Italian Lad. Then Cambridge also on Friday, and the Riverton Trotting Club race at Invercargill on Sunday, and the Riverton Cup, always a great race, the Riverton Cup. So that goes round on Sunday. Yeah,
very much looking forward to that, of course. Richard, thank you so much for your time. As always, understand you've got to go and look after some greyhound markets now, so you enjoy your afternoon up there in beautiful Petone.
Yeah, very good, Jess. Thank you.
And coming up harness racing wise this week in New Zealand, Thursday night we have Forbury Park down in Dunedin. Friday night we've got 2 meetings, the Waikato meeting at Cambridge and of course Addington Raceway in Christchurch. And on Sunday, as mentioned with Bruce Stewart, we've got the Riverton Cup meeting to be held at Ascot Park. And that's it for this week's Harness Half Hour. Thanks to Airpark Canterbury and HRNZ Marketing. Don't forget the podcast is available on the HRNZ website. You can also find it on the HRNZ Facebook page, through the Punters Lounge, which is on tab.co.nz. Also find us on Spotify and iTunes.